Ethan Barnes was a small-town mechanic with grease-stained hands and a heart far bigger than his modest garage could contain. He wasn't famous, and he didn't want to be. He loved the simplicity of helping people fix what was broken. Cars, appliances, even the occasional lawnmower. His life had a rhythm. Early mornings, long hours, and quiet nights with leftover coffee and classical music playing softly on the radio. But all of that changed the day a young girl named Lily entered. His life, or rather, wheeled into it. Lily was only 8, with the kind of eyes that saw far more than a child should have to. Diagnosed with a rare muscular disorder that confined her to a wheelchair, Lily had grown up watching other kids run, play, and ride their bikes while she remained on the sidelines. Mother Elena was a single parent who worked 2 jobs too. Pay for Lily's medical treatments. Her car was always on its last breath, and that's what brought them to Ethan's garage, that crisp spring morning. He saw them pull in slowly, exhaust sputtering out like a dying dragon, and he offered his signature half-smile as they got out. Elena explained they couldn't afford much, just needed the car to last another month. But as she spoke, Ethan's eyes kept drifting toward Lily, who was looking longingly at a picture taped to his wallen, old go-kart he had built in high school. "You like that?" he asked gently, crouching down beside her. Lily nodded shyly. "Yeah, I always wanted to ride. Something like that," she whispered. Ethan felt a tug in his chest he hadn't felt in years. That night, after fixing their car for free, he sat alone in the garage long after closing time. He kept thinking of Lily, her quiet strength, her dream to ride, her wheelchair like a cage, and suddenly he had an idea that made him sit up straight. What if he could give her something the doctors couldn't? What if he could build her a car? The next morning, he went digging through old parts, rusted gears, broken axles, forgotten motors. He saw not junk, but pieces of possibility. He spent every night sketching blueprints on old newspapers, measuring twice, cutting once. His hands, calloused and cracked, worked with the precision of an artist and the hope of a dreamer. He didn't tell anyone. It was his secret mission. In his mind, he wasn't just building a mini car, he was building freedom, over the next few weeks. Ethan transformed his garage into a haven of hope. He welded, bolted, and soldered, i.e., added a low-profile seat, soft cushion supports, easy grip controls, the joystick steering system perfect for someone with limited mobility. He even painted it a bright, happy purple, Lily's favorite color. Every detail was made with care. Every adjustment was tested a dozen times. He wanted it to be more than just a gift. He wanted it to be perfect. Finally, the day came. Ethan called Elena and asked her to bring Lily by, but didn't say why. When they arrived, he opened the garage doors slowly, dramatically. There it stood, a tiny, elegant, one-of-a-kind mini electric car, gleaming in the sunlight like something out of a dream. Lily's jaw dropped. She rolled closer, eyes wide with disbelief. "Is that?" "For me," she gasped. Ethan nodded, blinking back. Emotion. "You said you wanted to ride? Now you can drive." The moment she sat inside, something magical happened. The quiet girl who had always been wheeled around was suddenly in control. She pushed the joystick gently, and the car rolled forward. Then she turned, looped, and burst into laughter, a pure, sparkling sound that filled the garage like a symphony. Elena covered her mouth, tears falling freely. "You gave her something I couldn't," she whispered. Ethan smiled, watching Lily circle the garage in her purple chariot. Joy radiating from her like sunlight through storm clouds. The story might have ended their kind mechanic, grateful family, and a little girl with a dream come true, but fate had other plans. Unbeknownst to Ethan, Lena had filmed the moment on her phone and uploaded it to social media with the caption, "A stranger gave my daughter the freedom. No one else could." Within 24 hours, the video had gone viral. Billions of people watched. As Lily drove for the first time, news outlets picked it up. Ethan's name was suddenly trending. Emails poured in, messages of support, offers to help, even corporate sponsorships. But the biggest surprise came a week later, in the form of a sleek black limousine that pulled up in front of his humble garage. Ethan stepped outside, wiping grease from his hands, confused. Out stepped a man in a tailored suit and sunglasses. "Mr. Barnes?" he asked. "Yes," Ethan replied cautiously. The man smiled. "My employer saw the video. He's interested in meeting the man who builds miracles." Asterisk. And with that, the mechanic who spent his life fixing things for others suddenly found his own life about to be transformed. Ethan Barnes stood frozen as the suited man opened the limo door, gesturing for him to get in. "My employer is waiting," the man said, his tone polite but firm. Ethan looked back at his cluttered garage, oil stains on the floor, half-dismantled engines, and the walls that had echoed his quiet dreams for years. He wiped his hands on a rag instinctively, still unsure if this was real. "Do I need to bring anything?" he asked. The man shook his head. "Just yourself." With a deep breath and a heart pounding like a piston, Ethan climbed into the back seat, asterisk inside. The limo was unlike anything Ethan had ever seen: plush leather seats, ambient lighting, and a screen that lit up the moment the doors shut. A voice came through, warm and composed. "Mr. Barnes, it's an honor." The screen flickered, revealing a man in his late 40s, sharply dressed but with kind eyes. "My name is Charles Whitman. I run the Whitman Foundation. We help inventors, builders, and innovators who use their talents to change lives. I saw what you did for that little girl." Ethan's eyes widened. You saw Lily?" Nodded. "I didn't just see high," cried, watching that video. It gave her independence, joy, and dignity. That's not something money can buy. But I want to help you do more. Asterisk. The car stopped in front of a towering building glass. Steel. An elegance. The Whitman Innovation Center. Ethan stepped out, his boots awkward against the marble floor as he was led through polished hallways into a massive lab buzzing with energy. Engineers, designers, coders all, working on mobility, accessibility, and life-changing technology. Charles met him at the entrance with a handshake. "This is your future," he said. "If you want it." Asterisk overwhelmed. Ethan listened as Charles explained the vision to create affordable, accessible vehicles for children with disabilities. "There are millions of kids like Lily," Charles said. "Most never get to feel what she felt.
Oh.
But you." Ethan had the heart and the hands to change that. He offered Ethan a role head of a new initiative called Project Freeride. The salary was generous, the resources abundant, but the mission, that's what gripped Ethan's soul. Asterisk, he returned to his garage that night with a heavy heart knot from sadness. But the weight of a decision. Could he leave behind the comfort of the life he knew? The familiar clang of metal, the smell of oil, the solitude? He walked around the garage, running his fingers across tools that had become extensions of his own hands. But then he saw the purple minicar still parked in the corner, and in that moment, he knew. It wasn't about what he'd be leaving behind, it was about who he'd be moving forward for. Asterisk, the next morning. Ethan gave his answer. Yes, he joined the foundation. Asterisk, weeks turned into months, and Project Freeride took off like wildfire. Ethan worked with engineers to design minicars with adaptive controls, adjustable seats, safety features, and custom designs for each child's needs. He flew to hospitals, rehabilitation centers, and schools. He listened to parents' stories. He watched children's eyes light up as they took control of their tiny vehicles for the first time. Every child he helped reminded him of Lily, and every time he saw a child drive their car for the first time, he was reminded that the miracle didn't come from $1 million lab, but from one greasy, cluttered garage. Asterisk, Lily, of course, became the face of the project. Her story was broadcast nationally. She did interviews, posed beside her purple car, and even spoke at a fundraiser where she said, "Mr. Ethan didn't just give me a car, he gave me my legs." The audience cried. Ethan cried. The fundraiser broke records. Asterisk, and then came the greatest honor. One morning, Charles called Ethan into his office. "There's someone I want you to meet," he said. Inside sat a young boy named Mateo, 7 years old, wheelchair-bound since birth. his mother whispered. He's never smiled like that before. Psst. Ethan crouched beside the boy and showed him a sketch of a custom car flame decals, music, system, joystick controls, and a nameplate that read Mateo's Mustang. The boy lit up. Ethan turned to Charles and in a quiet voice said, "We're just getting started." Asterisk the found tears of joy. Lily, now a confident and smiling 9-year-old, stood on stage and handed Ethan a plaque that read, "To the man who put wheels on our dreams." The crowd erupted. Ethan, overwhelmed, could barely speak. But when he did, it was simple. "I just wanted to help one girl smile. I didn't know it would change the world." Asterisk that night, alone in his hotel room, Ethan looked out the window at the city lights and whispered a quiet prayer of thanks. Not for the fame or the money, but for that single moment when he chose to act. Because one choice, made from compassion, had built more than a minicar. It had built a movement. Asterisk, and to anyone watching his journey on the news online or across the world, he had only one message. Asterisk, never underestimate the power of kindness. One spark can light up an entire life.